Hello, friends. I'm Doug Pratt. I'm speaking to you from the sanctuary of First Church in Bonita Springs, and it is Wednesday, May the 6th. We've been talking together for several weeks now in this method, but we are moving into a time of reopening our live activities at the church, and therefore I'll be speaking with you less often than weekly going forward as our energies are focused upon what we need to do to resume the normal life of our church. I want to share with you a couple thoughts about what God's purpose is for His church and for us as individuals. I want to read this verse to you from Luke chapter 12. From everyone who has been given much, much will be expected. From everyone who has been given much, much will be expected. That verse has always been a special motivator and a special conviction to me. In this time of a most unusual virus attack upon our nation and our world, some of our church members and members of our larger community have really suffered, either health or financially or both. Others of us, though we may have been significantly inconvenienced and our normal routines disrupted and have had to go through weeks of self-limiting and quarantining and staying at home, which has been unpleasant in a lot of ways, nevertheless, many of us have not suffered in the same way. We are comparatively blessed. Well, what does God want us to do, those of us who have received more blessings than others? Now, that's a profound question. I have had the opportunity to have some great discussions in the last week or so with the leaders of Love in the Name of Christ, which is our coalition of Christian churches in our area, serving Bonita, Estero, North Collier, helping people who have special needs in the name of Christ. In fact, Love Inc. means Love in the Name of Christ. And it's a wonderful ministry that we have available to us. So I asked the leaders of that group, what are you seeing? Where are the greatest needs in our community? A lot of organizations have taken upon themselves and even focused exclusively on providing emergency food bags for families, Salvation Army and food banks and so on. But Love Inc. has determined that the greatest need right now is for financial assistance to those who have lost their jobs or are significantly reduced in their employment and their income. And these are folks especially in the service industries who have been really impacted. People who work in retail, in restaurants and food service, in hotels and tourism, in cleaning services and so on, all of them have been significantly impacted in this way. And these are folks who don't have the luxury of working at home. After all, you really can't serve a hungry table of 4 people a meal from your laptop. You really can't clean a hotel room from your phone. You just have to be there, and they can't be. And so these folks are experiencing some significant loss. And although the government has temporarily, for a short-term burst, provided checks as a stimulus, and some of the unemployment benefits have been elevated for a couple months, the reality here in Southwest Florida is that we anticipate it's going to be at least until the fall when our season hopefully returns, when many of these people will find their jobs restored. Our most critical months are probably going to be July, August, and September. And thus, we wonder, what can we do? The session of our church, in partnership with Love Inc., has authorized the raising of a fund from our church members and our broader community that can be available to help these individuals. This fund is completely tax deductible. First Church will maintain it and do the accounting, but will not take a single penny for any administrative fees. 100% will go to the individuals who need it the most. And we are talking about people who are not unemployable, but are recently unemployed. All of the individuals will be vetted carefully by Love Inc. And so to individuals, couples, and families, This fund will be devoted exclusively to providing payments for rent, for mortgage, monthly payment, and for utilities. It will be a housing-oriented fund. It will be there for people who have a real need. And as we think about doing this, and by the way, we will consider giving up to $1,000 to a recipient depending upon their needs, we are motivated to do this, not only from our Christian compassion and from the sense, as Jesus pointed out, that those who are blessed are expected to respond in like way, but also it's for our own self-interest because we need our workforce to be available here in Southwest Florida and not leave our area because they can no longer afford to live here. And when things return to normal, we're going to need them. We're going to want them. They're an important and cherished part of our community. My wife and I have gotten the word that we're going to be getting a check from the federal government. We didn't ask for it. We live frugally, I think, and have always been savers, and we don't really need it. But there are people in our community who do. So Uncle Sam has indiscriminately given these gifts to many people like us. We feel that it's our opportunity to turn around and give that to some people who really need it. And I invite you to consider doing that as well. The fund is going to be named the Save Our Home Fund. The Florida governor, a little over a month ago, proclaimed a time of distancing and self-protection that he labeled Safer at Home. So we're just going to take off from that title and name this Save Our Home. And you will be able to give to our church electronically over our website, as well as sending checks marked for First Presbyterian Church, but designated to the Save Our Home Fund. And it is our hope that we can make a real difference for people in an unexpected and through no fault of their own, a real crisis time. Maybe God can use you and me and our generosity to make a difference for folks. Well, that's what we have ahead for us in terms of caring for and loving our community. Now let me give you a little bit of church news and then a little bit more of local news. Our church last Sunday went back to live worship services in our sanctuary at 8 and 10 o'clock. And between the two services, we had nearly 400 people come. And it was a joyful time of reunion. We were following careful practices and precautions, distancing and so on. Some people wore face masks and others did not, and we gave permission either way. But we had a wonderful time of worshiping the Lord, and we live streamed at 10 o'clock so that in real time, everything that happened here went to people's homes, and people could also watch it later on through that day and beyond. Our plans are the same for this Sunday, May the 10th, which also happens to be Mother's Day. We invite you, if you're in Southwest Florida and feel comfortable coming to be with others, to join us in this time live, but we also invite you, if you are not comfortable coming, or if you are now elsewhere, to worship with us online, once again, live streamed at 10 o'clock, and then available after that. I also want you to know that our thrift shop and our bookstore are both planning on reopening to the public on Monday, May the 18th. That's a week from this coming Monday, May the 18th, they will be reopening. Speaking of reopening, Southwest Florida is in phase 1 of this process. We have adequate and beyond space in our hospitals and capacity, so much so that hospitals and doctors' offices and clinics are reopening their quote-unquote elective surgery and normal health care. We are finding that the numbers are dropping in testing of positive results and of hospitalizations, a good trend indeed. We also, this week, have seen a reopening of restaurants and retail. I had an amazing experience a couple days ago. I had the opportunity with a couple other people to go to a restaurant where we sat down and they took our order and we ate our food right there. It was amazing how we learn to appreciate even common, ordinary things when they're temporarily taken away from us. So it was a joy to be able to experience that part of life again. Our outdoor recreation is abundant. People are enjoying outdoor activities, walking, biking, hiking, beach, golf course, tennis court. Almost all of them are reopened, and people are finding it to be a great joy to be outside. Candidly, the last couple months during this time of coronavirus emergency have actually been a time of phenomenally good weather here in Southwest Florida. Other than maybe 2 days of some rain, we have had temperatures mostly in the 80s with low humidity and sunshine. It's just been wonderful and spectacular. We're expecting that our governor will be issuing more guidelines, perhaps before the end of this week, of further opening up of our economy and our normal activities of life. If you are not in Southwest Florida, are you in a place where reopening has begun, or are you still in a pretty heavy lockdown mode? I'd love to hear from you. In fact, we're all going to have our stories of where we were and what we did and how life was impacted during the great virus of 2020. If you'd like to share anything with me about what you're experiencing, especially prayer requests for yourself and those you love, please feel free to contact me. Email is probably the best method. And my address is very simple, dpratt@fpcbonita.org. Would love to hear from you. Until we can all be together in person again, you are in my prayers. Stay safe and know that you are loved.